Hello there, welcome to News from Nepal Television. I'm Smithu Gising Thamang. Let's begin with the top stories for this afternoon. Government gives continuity to import ban on 10 different items, lends 7 billion rupees to NOC to clear the dues of petroleum import. Maoist Centre Chair Dahal returns home from India visit, says the trip was fruitful in further cementing the friendly ties. 2 people killed and several wounded in a mall shooting in the US state of Indiana. Police say they have at least 1 suspect. And Nepal suffers humiliating 8-wicket defeat against host Scotland in the last ODI of ICC WCL League 2 series. Batting woes continue. Welcome back. Now the news in detail. The government has retained the prohibition on the import of 10 various goods. Before this, the ban had been imposed until July 16 or till the end of the earlier fiscal year. The meeting of the Council of Ministers on Saturday decided to give continuity to the earlier decision, according to Minister for Communication and Information Technology, Gyanendra Bahadur Karki. Minister Karki, informed about the cabinet decision, said the ban has been extended till August 30. The Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Supplies, publishing a notice in the Nepal Gazette on Sunday, stated that the prohibition continues on the import of certain types of processed snacks, all types of alcoholic drinks except the industrial raw materials, cigarette and tobacco products excepting industrial raw materials, diamond except industrial raw materials, smartphones costing more than $300, color television, jeep, car and van, motorcycle, all kinds of dolls and playing cards. The government has also decided to provide 7 billion rupees in loan to Nepal Oil Corporation to pay the dues to Indian Oil Corporation. Chairman of the CPN Maoist Centre, Pushpa Kamal Dahal, has said his 3-day-long visit to India was successful. Talking to media persons upon his return from his friendly visit to India, the former Prime Minister said in course of his meetings with Indian leaders, discussion was held on fostering Nepal-India ties. Leader Dahal said the Indian leaders have positively considered the issues raised by him in the meeting. Dahal, however, said he was unaware as to why a meeting was not held with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Dahal visited India at the invitation of BJP Chairman JP Nadda. The Ministry of Labour, Employment and Social Security has approved Contributors Credit Guidelines 2079 BS based on the Social Security Fund. Minister for Labour, Employment and Social Security Sher Bahadur Kunwar approved the guidelines on Sunday. The guidelines was prepared as per the Social Security Investment Procedure 2077 BS and Clause 32, Subclause 1, Section K of Social Security Act 2074 BS. The contributors could obtain a loan for constructing new houses, renovations and purchasing one, for which they must have contributed for at least 36 months in the fund and have at least 2 years left to their retirement. Similarly, the newly approved guidelines also features loans of up to 3.5 million rupees, such as contributor educational loan with conditions applied. Fund's Executive Director Kapil Mani Gyawali said contributors can avail the fund's services starting from the new fiscal year 2022-23. Today is the first Monday of the Sawan or Shravan month. The Shravan month in the Hindu calendar is dedicated to Lord Shiva. Mondays that fall during the Shravan month are considered very auspicious. Many people fast on Mondays during this time, and these are called as Shravan Somwar or Shravan Somwar Vrats. Hindu devotees have been thronging the Pashupatinath temple in Kathmandu and all other Shiva shrines and temples across the country since dawn today to observe the first Monday. The entire Shravan month is considered to be the auspicious period to worship Lord Shiva, with the belief that one's wishes will get fulfilled by worshipping Lord Shiva. Time for a short break now. We shall be right back with more updates. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. Now the remaining updates. The fiscal year 2022-23 has started from Sunday. With the beginning of the new fiscal year, the new economic policy rules introduced by the government through the budget this year have also been implemented. The government has said that the 17 trillion 93 billion rupees budget brought for the new fiscal has shifted from import to production and from deprivation to inclusion. Here's a report to quickly look back at the last fiscal year.
Lack of timely spending remains one of the major problems of the budget in the country. As the country embraces new fiscal year, beginning Sunday, last year's overall budget expenditure stands at 79%, and the sorry state of development expenditure reflects with the figures of 57.23% only, as per the data of the Office of the Controller General of Accounts. According to the data, current expenditure spending was 90%. Development expenditure is 57.23% and 62.5% on fiscal management. Even the revenue collection did not meet the target, with 91% progress at around 1100 billion rupees. Similarly, 976 billion rupees was collected in tax revenue and 83 billion 133 million rupees in non-tax revenue, where foreign grant was way below the target with only 30.53% collection. Out of the government's target collection, a total of 59 billion 91 billion 99 million rupees in foreign aid, only 18 billion 28 million have been collected so far. Economic experts say below target performance and expenditure of the budget and revenue collection is affected by the structural policy. They say development expenditure and the country's economic progress is interrelated. Coming out of the tradition of budget implementation at the last moment shall be discouraged. However, the budget for 2022-23 has been implemented first Sunday with high hopes. Along with implementation of the new budget, increase in salary of civil employees, social security allowance to 68 years old among others are being implemented. This financial year has allocated a budget of 17 trillion 93 billion rupees, which is more than a trillion higher than the last fiscal year.
COVID-19 has claimed one person, while 135 new cases have been confirmed in the past 24 hours. According to the Ministry of Health and Population, the new infections were detected from over 3,000 tests across the country. With 59 people recovering from the infection in the same period, the active caseload has reached 1,439 as of now in the country. And now the international update. 2 people were killed in a shooting on Sunday at a mall in Greenwood in the U.S. state of Indiana, and multiple other people were taken to hospitals with injuries, Indiana Metropolitan Police said. Officers were called shortly before 6 p.m. to Greenwood Park Mall, where gunshots were reportedly fired in the food court, Assistant Chief of Police Chris Bailey said at a brief news conference. There is no active threat to the area and police have at least one suspect, he said. Authorities are searching the mall for any other victims, but Bailey said he believes the shooting was contained to the food court. He did not immediately know if the suspect was shot. As Russia's military pressed its efforts to expand into Ukraine's east, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky fired the head of the country's security service and its prosecutor general on Sunday, citing hundreds of criminal proceedings into treason and collaboration by people within their departments. He dismissed Prosecutor General Irina Venediktova and replaced her with her deputy Oleksiy Simonenko. He also fired Ivan Bakanov, the head of Ukraine's security service, the SBU. In his daily address, Zelensky said he told Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in a phone call on Sunday that Ukraine will never accept Canada's decision to turn over the Nord Stream turbine to Germany, which will then deliver it to Russia. Zelensky also rebutted the deputy head of Russia's Security Council about warnings that any attacks on the bridge linking Crimea and Russia would trigger devastating consequences for Ukraine's leadership. Time again for a short break. We shall be back with more updates. Welcome back. You're watching English News on Nepal television, and now more updates from international front. France has evacuated more than 16,000 people threatened by wildfires in the southwest, as fires also spread in Spain, Croatia and Greece. Authorities in France's Gironde, a popular tourist region, have evacuated guards from campsites the tourists left earlier. Fires have spread in the Testa de Buc and Londigas areas. In southern Spain, more than 3,200 people fled fires in the Midges Hills, though later some were able to return. Portugal's fires are contained for now. More than 1,000 deaths have been attributed to the heat in Portugal and Spain in recent days. Long lines continued outside gas stations in Colombo on Sunday amid Sri Lanka's ongoing political upheaval. Frequent arguments broke out amongst those waiting in the serpentine queues as shortages hit the public hard. Meanwhile, lawmakers began choosing a new leader after the president fled abroad before resigning after mass protests over the country's economic collapse. On Friday, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was sworn in as interim president until Parliament elects a successor to Gotabaya Rajapaksa, whose term ends in 2024. Sri Lanka has run short of money to pay for imports of basic necessities such as food, fertilizer and fuel to the despair of its 22 million people. Its rapid economic decline has been all the more shocking because before this crisis, the economy had been expanding with a growing comfortable middle class. Shanghai's sizzling weather topped 40 degrees Celsius again on Thursday, the hottest place in the country, triggering the city's third red heat alert this year. Red is the highest of the city's three-color alerts. The temperature hit 40.6 degrees at the downtown Zikaway weather station around 1 p.m. on Thursday, ranking third in history. It was the city's 10th consecutive day struggling through the over 37-degree heat wave and the 15th high-temperature day this year days at or above 35 degrees. Since July 5, Shanghai has seen 3 days with temperatures over 40 degrees. July 10, 13 and Thursday. The highs are expected to cool down a little to 38 degrees on Friday and drop to under 35 degrees over the weekend, while the lows will be around 30 degrees. More updates lined up at the other side, but before that, let's take a look at what we have coming up next. Pet owners in Lima took part in a race with their four-legged companions on Sunday as part of an event to mark International Dog Day. Diana Ramos, a representative of the municipality of Lima, said the mascoton aimed to encourage owners to adopt healthy habits such as walking and running with their dogs. The pets were seen by a veterinarian before the race to ensure they were in a healthy condition. And now the sports update. Nepal finished the ICC CWC League 2 campaign in Scotland with a humiliating 8 wickets defeat against the host. After put into bat by the hosts, Nepal's batting crumbled in the foreign condition and finally collapsed for 128 runs in 37.5 hours. Thanks to the 40 runs from Asif Sheikh and skipper Sandeep Lamichhani's entertaining 22, Nepal crossed the 100 runs mark. The hosts galloped to the target in just 19 hours, losing 2 wickets to improve their net run rate to a larger extent. Nepal won just 1 match in the 4 outings and returns, slumping 1 place down to 6th in the League 2 table. Ensuring top 5 finish in the 7-team tournament is a must for Nepal to ensure ODI status for the post-2023 World Cup cycle. Nepal has so far played 20 of the 36 matches and has to be on the toes to compete as one of the top associate countries in the remaining matches. Sweden and the Netherlands have entered the quarter-finals of the UEFA Women's Euro Cup. Sweden secured their place in the last 8 with a 5-0 victory over Portugal in the 3rd round match under Group C last night. In the 21st minute of the first half, Sweden took the lead with a goal by centre midfielder Filippa Engeldal. At the end of the first half, Engeldal's personal 2nd goal doubled Sweden's lead. By the end of the game, Sweden scored 5 goals and Portugal could not score any. Similarly, in the other match of Group C held last night, the Netherlands defeated Switzerland by a margin of 4-1 and entered the quarter-finals. Now Sweden will compete with the runners-up of Group D and Netherlands will face France in the quarter-finals. And before we wrap up, the reminder of our top stories. Government gives continuity to import ban on 10 different items, lends 7 billion rupees to NOC to clear the dues of petroleum import. Maoist Centre Chair Dahal returns home from India visit, says the trip was fruitful and further cementing the friendly ties. 2 people killed and several wounded in a mall shooting in the US state of Indiana. Police say they have at least 1 suspect. And Nepal suffers humiliating 8-wicket defeat against host Scotland in the last ODI of ICC WCL League 2 series. Batting woes continue. This brings us to the end of our news bulletin. We shall be back with next one at 6 this evening. Till then, goodbye. Namaste.